Continuing coverage of the crackdown on alleged fraud in hospice and home health care, a day after the vice president announced a 6-month freeze on the enrollment of new hospice providers. We're hearing from experts on how this could impact Minnesota. Here's Gordon Severson.
I was really surprised. I was stunned.
A nationwide freeze on new home and healthcare companies came as quite a shock for Christina Wright-Peterson, the executive director for the Minnesota Network of Hospice and Palliative Care. She agrees with the Trump administration that significant fraud is happening in the state of California.
I do feel that those are real numbers. I think that that's absolutely what has unfortunately taken place.
But she's concerned this nationwide freeze will hurt Minnesota families, with many counties already experiencing a shortage of care options. She personally knows of several companies that are actively trying to get a license to operate in Minnesota.
These are high-quality providers who are doing it the right way, and they will now be halted.
Wright-Peterson says the freeze would also stop current companies from starting new branches in other areas of the state, and companies that are looking to sell or merge with another company. So instead of gaining new companies, she's worried the numbers could go down. According to the Minnesota Department of Health, there are 144 Medicare-certified home care agencies and 70 hospice care agencies that are currently licensed in Minnesota. The National Alliance for Care at Home is advocating for a targeted strategy that instead focuses on, quote, high-fraud markets, because reports suggest that the problem is happening in concentrated areas, like California. Wright-Peterson agrees the entire country shouldn't be punished for a problem that is only happening in a few select areas.
I don't have concern in the state of Minnesota that we will be the next California.
The Trump administration argues that the reason they went with a nationwide freeze on new home and hospice care companies is because they're concerned that the fraudsters in California will simply move into other states now that their funding has been cut off. They say this has already been happening in Nevada, Texas, and Arizona.
Right, so Gordon, if leaders are focusing on states like California and they say it's not that big of a problem or concern right now in Minnesota, just about how many providers or companies are being frozen right here in Minnesota?
Well, according to the Minnesota Department of Health, there's about a dozen that are kind of on hold here in Minnesota that are trying to get licensing, and that's a much smaller number than the 800 that lost their funding in California when the administration decided to crack down on some of this fraud.
I see. All right, Gordon, thank you.